All right, let's just dive right in and expose how modern car buying is, well, quietly stealing your early retirement. Today, in this explainer, we're pulling back the curtain on a multi-billion-dollar financial trap that millions of hardworking people are falling into every single month. We're going to talk about how your car choice, and honestly, more importantly, how you actually pay for it, is one of the absolute biggest factors deciding your long-term financial freedom. I mean, just look at this number, $1.33 million. Crazy, right? Well, here's the math behind it. Let's say you took an average $700 monthly car payment, and instead of giving it to a lender, you invested it into a simple S&P 500 index fund. Over 30 years, assuming historical market returns, that money could snowball into $1.33 million in market growth. You literally only contribute a fraction of that yourself, but compounding interest does all the heavy lifting. You don't have to earn that money, you just have to not interrupt it by handing it over to a bank for a piece of metal that's going down in value.
Okay, let's move to Section 1. The monthly car payment trap, dealership illusions.
So, let's look at the psychological mechanism that traps millions of us in the cycle of endless working. It usually starts with a phrase you've almost certainly heard if you've ever set foot on a car lot. What monthly payment works for you? You know the one. Understanding this is absolutely crucial because it's a highly calculated sales tactic. It intentionally shifts your focus completely away from the massive total price tag of the vehicle. By getting you to focus on a deceptively manageable monthly number, they change the entire conversation from, wait, is this car really worth $50,000? to, can I survive a $600 deduction every month? And here is exactly why that's such a dangerous trap. Focusing only on that monthly cost causes buyers to just totally ignore the hidden fees packed into those long-term loans. When the finance office magically stretches out your loan term to hit your budget, they're usually hiding inflated interest rates, really expensive extended warranties, luxury maintenance plans, and higher insurance premiums. The monthly payment system hides the true scale of what you're actually spending, creating what economists call payment-based living. That's where your financial health is basically dictated by whatever crumbs are left after a dozen different monthly deductions.
All right, Section 2. Depreciation versus loan repayment, the race you usually lose.
The mismatch between these two things is basically a race, and it's one you are structurally designed to lose. On one side, we have your loan amortization. In the early years of a loan, your payments are super heavy on interest, meaning you're only slowly chipping away at the principal. But on the flip side, we have depreciation, and this is a rapid, aggressive drop. A brand new car can easily lose roughly 20% of its value in the first year alone. So your loan balance is crawling down the stairs while your car's actual value is jumping out the window.
And that mismatch leads directly to our next concept, negative equity. Simply put, this means owing more on your car loan than the actual market value of the vehicle. You are officially upside down. And this becomes a severe trap if you ever want or need to trade your car in too early. Because the car isn't worth enough to cover the loan, that leftover debt gets rolled right into your next car purchase, completely compounding your financial burden.
Moving to Section 3. The danger of long-term commitments, pushing affordability limits. Point your eyes to this number. 84 months. Look at that for a second. That is 7 full years. It really highlights how long-term financing is being used to normalize massive amounts of consumer debt. It's honestly an absolute absurdity of the modern auto market that 1 in 5 buyers are now signing 72 to 84-month auto loans. People are signing away 7 years of their future income just to afford the monthly payment on incredibly expensive vehicles today. And the fallout from this is very, very real. Consumer advocates over at the Consumer Federation of America offer a pretty severe warning on this. They state, financing negative equity pushes vulnerable car buyers into a cycle of increasingly expensive debt over many years. When buyers try to escape a car they can no longer afford, they roll that negative equity into a new 84-month loan, which means they are literally paying interest twice on the exact same money. It's a hamster wheel of debt, and it is incredibly difficult to step off once you're on it. Okay, Section 4. The safe haven, used cars, avoiding the steepest drop.
So how exactly do you escape this wealth-destroying cycle? Well, it starts with realizing that the sticker price is often a complete lie. Look at this 5-year true cost of ownership comparison. We've got a $20,000 used luxury sedan next to a $20,000 new economy crossover. Because of massive ongoing depreciation, premium fuel needs, and notoriously high luxury maintenance costs, that so-called cheap used luxury car, that can actually cost you $13,000 more to own over 5 years than the reliable mainstream economy car. So the advice here is super clear and actionable. Let someone else take the massive hit of that first year's depreciation. Whenever possible, do yourself a huge favor and purchase a reliable 3-year-old vehicle in cash. By doing this, you're letting the original owner absorb that punishing 20 to 30% value drop and keeping that capital firmly in your own pocket to build your own wealth.
Which brings us to Section 5, the Golden 24-10 Finance Rule, your checklist for financial freedom.
Look, if paying cash just isn't an option right now and you absolutely must finance a vehicle, you need a strict framework. Let's break down the 24-10 rule. Step 1. You must put down a minimum of 20%. This creates instant equity and acts like a shield against that early depreciation drop, so you aren't immediately upside down. Step 2. Finance for a maximum of 4 years, or 48 months. No 84-month nonsense. This forces you to pay off the principal before the car requires major repairs. And Step 3, your total transportation costs, meaning your loan payment, insurance, fuel, and maintenance, must not exceed 10% of your gross monthly income. These strict parameters basically force you to buy only what you can truly afford without sacrificing your ability to save and invest. And honestly, this is the most critical part of the whole strategy. If the car doesn't fit the formula, walk away. Just walk away. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of strictly committing to this rule. Human emotion and, the desire for a bit of status will always try to convince you to stretch your budget. But sticking to the 24-10 rule is your absolute ultimate defense against being trapped in permanent financial extraction.
Especially when you look at the broader economy. There has been a steady, massive rise in the average transaction price for vehicles over recent years. Prices have just skyrocketed. As vehicle prices continue to surge, protecting yourself with the 24-10 rule is literally more critical right now than it has ever been. You simply cannot allow inflated market prices to dictate your personal financial stability.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, really provocative thought. What would your financial future look like if you paid yourself instead of a lender? Just imagine taking that massive monthly car payment, freeing yourself from negative equity, and redirecting those funds to build your own long-term wealth. The road to financial freedom isn't driven in a car you can't afford. It's built by the smart, disciplined choices you make today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope this gives you the tools you need to take total control of your financial journey.